Yeah, so remember, when we're out there exercising, it's not all about what we're doing with our muscles, because there's still some other things at play. So in a way, you can kind of buy speed, right, by reducing the weight of your equipment and the things that you're carrying, because then you have to fight less against gravity. There's a short article that we talked about with this link here, and it was another study done by Paul McDermott where they added kind of sand to people's bikes. And actually, you need a lot of weight to make a big difference in how much faster you can go, or how much the weight slows you down. So if you really want to buy speed, you need to make a huge difference in the weight of your bike. So that's a pretty cool article. Go check that out. But Will, don't forget, the faster we go, the more aerodynamic drag we have, right? So this is why you, on your TT bike, you get there and you get nice and aero, right?
So when we're talking about economy of movement, we're really talking about the energetic cost of going at a certain speed or power output. So if we think about weight, if we weigh a lot less and we have to run or we have to climb a hill, then we don't need to generate as much muscular force because our mass is less in order to get ourselves up that hill. So then the energetic requirement is less. Similarly, if we want to go 40 kilometers an hour, then if we are sitting upright wearing a parachute, that's going to be super hard. We're going to have to require to put out a lot of power, a lot of force on the pedals in order to be able to go 40 kilometers an hour. Whereas we can improve that economy, the energetic cost of going 40 kilometers an hour, by going into a TT position, putting the helmet on, putting the skin suit on, getting carbon wheels, reducing the friction at our bearings, reducing the friction at any kind of rotational point, the cranks, the cassette, everything. We can reduce the energetic input, which means we can improve our economy. Same with rolling resistance. We can change our tire pressures, we can change our tire width. And with running, now we can actually add energetically returning foam. So we've got that PVAX foam, which is just change the game in running, and we have the support of the carbon plate to utilize that PVAX foam. So we're getting a greater energetic return, or I guess a reduced energetic loss in running. So we are improving our economy. So part of that is around, when Nike first brought out one of these new super shoes, they called it Nike 4%. A lot of people thought that meant 4% faster. What it did was it improved running economy by 4%. So that, for some people, is not going to directly correlate into running speed, but it is going to reduce the energetic cost of running at a certain speed. And so if you're running 4-minute Ks or like a 6-7 minute mile, and now you're able to improve your economy, the energetic cost of that, by 4%, maybe you could do it a little bit longer, or you could add that 4% back in and go 1 second or 2 seconds faster. But if your actual movement pattern, your biomechanics, the style of cross-bridge recycling, the contraction, the lengthening, the shortening, if all that changes, then potentially your stride length ends up being shorter or longer in a bad way, in which you apply a greater braking force, a longer ground contact time. So yes, on paper, the economy of your movement may have increased, but that doesn't necessarily directly correlate to speed.
So one of the things that we see, Will, I linked to this swim study because I think this is a cool one. And what they saw in this study is that as swimmers got fatigued, the way that their swim form actually changed, right? And we know this when we start to feel tired, right? So this is why fatigue resistance is really important, because as we get tired, we start to get worse and worse in actually being able to propel ourselves forward when we're exercising or competing.
That's right. If you only have to look at someone at, if we really exaggerate, at the end of an ultra marathon or the end of an Ironman, they don't look like what they would at the very start of the run, because there is so much fatigue around, let's say, their prime movers and the synergistic supporting muscles are gone, that you're just trying to find whatever muscle you have left available that would be, your most fatigue resistant to propel yourself forward. Now your economy is just out the window. Your arms are probably dropping because you can't afford the metabolic cost of keeping them up. So now your pendulum's longer, your body rotation is longer. The way in which you apply force, especially in swimming, you need to be able to apply force on the water. If your elbow drops, now that surface area is lower. So the energy cost is still quite high, but the efficiency or the way in which you're applying force or adding a braking force is now is out the window, And so now your economy is really reduced. And Matt, you've developed something that can actually measure that to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, we were, as you know, with a bike and kind of with everything, it's not just about going forward. It's about making sure you can keep going forward because there are other things that slow us down. And we're starting to reduce those. So like we can buy speed by reducing the weight of our equipment, and we can buy speed by getting more aero. But, one of the things that really slows us down, about 25% of our energy when we're riding up and down hills goes into the brakes, right? So that's a lot of wasted energy. So what we've developed is BrakeAce, and it measures your braking. That way you can also focus on improving your skills, right? Because there's so much time to be had, and it's basically free speed, just like all these other things that we're talking about.
That's right. All these, I guess, technologies that have been coming out, ceramic bearings, carbon plated, high stack running shoes, super tight clothing, is all made and aid your economy and really reduce the rate you are slowing down in between your force applications. So that is, when you actually toe off the ground, when you actually push on the pedals, in between those cycles, you're slowing down and you're needing to continuously apply force. So if we can reduce the amount you're slowing down, it's just like cornering. If you're really good at cornering, you're going to lose less speed, which means you're going to maintain speed, which overall is going to lead to a faster finishing time. And that's what all this technology is doing. And the more we understand that with the likes of power meters, both in running and in cycling, and then now in mountain biking with brake power meters, you can actually directly see how much of the speed you're taking away through your technique. Right. And then we'll get into chapter 3 and really look at how we can identify a lot of these things within Training Peaks so that you can help these athletes, your athletes, become faster, and you can see their weaknesses or their slowing down points, or how you can add value and support them to become faster.
I'm really looking forward to this one because this is all about using that science the way that we always do what we do, right? So let's apply it to our athletes in Training Peaks and make them faster.